Happy day to one and all present here. My name is Arpita Maitra and I work in the Department of Communication and Media Studies. Today I am going to talk about a very interesting topic which is really booming. It is called persuasive communication. We are in a fast-paced world. We are in a globalized society where people belong to different cultures, different beliefs, different attitudes. Persuasive communication helps to cut the noise and make sure the correct information comes to the consumers and they are able to take correct choices. Now let us see what are the fields persuasive communication is really useful. It is applicable in public relations, advertising, marketing, and especially in an age where we are facing this 24/7 news cycle. We are in a globalized society where different brands are trying their best to make a mark for themselves. In this globalized society, what we need is to understand what are the brands, what are the features, and what helps those consumers. So for consumers to make those particular choices, it is very important that this persuasive communication tells you and influence you to decide what kind of brands you will be comfortable with. Now to start with persuasive communication, let us first understand what is this concept of communication. In simple terms, if somebody asks what is communication, it is nothing but sending and receiving information. It is sending the information with the shared meaning. It is very important to keep that communication system or the communication connection or the medium alive so that your personal and professional relations stay safe. Now connected to communication, what we are going to talk about today is persuasive communication. In simple terms, there are different strategies, different tactics, different mediums used to send a particular type of messages so that you can make a choice for yourself. It can influence your beliefs, your attitudes towards a particular product or a service and helps you to take a particular decision correctly. Convincing or persuading the audience to adopt a specific viewpoint, that is one. Again, act in a certain way, yes, second point, and reconsider their position to accept a particular viewpoint is all about persuasive communication. Now that you have understood communication and persuasive communication, let us delve into what are the different categories of persuasive communication. Now the first type or category in persuasive communication is Aristotle's rhetoric. It is a very important concept in advertising, in marketing, and he has given a detail about three concepts: ethos, pathos, logos. Now if somebody asks what are these concepts, ethos, pathos, logos, if you talk to somebody, they will wonder. In simple terms, ethos stands for credibility, pathos for emotion, and logos for logic. Now if somebody asks how do you connect it with persuasive communication, let me come to credibility part, which is connected to ethos. When you fall sick, you go to a doctor, right? The doctor prescribes a medicine. He or she is going to explain what has exactly happened and what went wrong. Why do you have to take this medicine so that you become proper? So you at that point of time will be believing the doctor who is the speaker, who is the communicator. So you are trusting his experience, you are trusting his clinical expertise, and you are believing that those medicines will help you to get better. So that is credibility. It all depends on the communicator, the speaker's trustworthiness, the expertise, the knowledge. Then comes your emotion. Now you will see you are in a world surrounded with so many different types of advertisements. And remember, most of the brands in today's market, they try to touch you with your emotions. It can be fear, it can be your confidence, it can be your patriotism, right? Very simple example, when you go out, you see a particular brand and when you see the name, the label, the made in India, it makes you proud. That patriotism feeling is something which is connected to this pathos, and that Aristotle spoke about it long time ago. Now let us come to the logos part, right? Logos is nothing but when you have logical reasoning, you have statistical analysis to prove the point, you have numbers and facts to believe those particular statements. Now if somebody says that solar panels helps you to reduce the electricity bill, and this statement, if you ask a better India, there are a lot of times you believe in somebody's statement. Now let me give an example. If Better India, our impact driven platform, makes a statement that solar panels can help reduce your electricity bill monthly by 70 to 80%, and they support it with their logic, their numbers, you will believe it. That is what logos is all about. When you see your logical reasoning and you agree with it, it correctly falls in logos category. So this is what This is the first category of persuasive communication, which is Aristotle's rhetoric. Now, next category of persuasion and persuasive communication is depending on communication channel. In simple terms, channel means nothing, the medium which you are using to send the information. That is exactly what channel is all about. Now, there are three types of this communication channel category which I am going to talk. The first being verbal persuasion, then comes non-verbal persuasion, then comes your multimodal persuasion. Now, let us start with verbal persuasion. Verbal persuasion, it relies on language and content rather than non-verbal cues. Now, when we do non-verbal cues, you will be able to understand what exactly verbal persuasion is all about. It is about spoken or written communication technique, which are all used by advertisers, by market communicators to understand and to influence the decisions of the consumers. Now, let's come with non-verbal persuasion. There are a lot of times where content doesn't matter. It is the way you place your statements in front of the audience, the way you use your body posture, your eye contact, the non-verbal cues with your emotions. You try to influence somebody, that comes under non-verbal persuasion. There are a lot of times you get emotionally very charged up, seeing only the expression, seeing only the expression of the actors. Okay, that time these words or written communication doesn't work. Those non-verbal persuasion helps. Especially subtlety is something which is very prominent in non-verbal persuasion. Things like diplomacy, negotiations, when things happen like that, when you present a particular topic, while presentation is going on, your body posture matters. These are the places that subtlety really matters, and subtlety is one of the very important points in non-verbal persuasion. The third type of persuasion when it comes to communication channel is the multimodal persuasion. Now, what is it? It is again a combination of several communication channels which says written, oral, non-verbal, sometimes spoken, everything put together to try to persuade the audience. It combines various modalities to produce that kind of a content, that kind of an impact. Because when I say impact, I am talking about the non-verbal cues also, visual effects also, which tries to influence the audience, which tries to influence the customers and help them to decide what they are going to opt for. Right? Especially this kind of a communication is very important when it comes to political campaigns and also public service advertisement. Now, when I talk about public service advertisement, let's look at a small video by Hindustan Unilever that became very popular, and that spread the message of the importance of water, especially in rural India. Let's take a look on this video.
एक दिन हमारे गांव में किसी ने नहाने का सावर रख दिया। हमारे आधे गांव ने पानी पी लिया और एक शहर वाले का नहाना अभी खत्म ना हुआ।
Next category comes with direction of influence. Now, this direction of influence is something which you will always see in the market when you go out to the market and buy different products. So, it is of two types. One type is one-sided persuasion. When I say one-sided persuasion, it is nothing but when the speaker is talking about his or her own points, right? The communicator is trying to convince you with all the positive aspects of the product or the service or any kind of content that he or she is presenting it in front of you. That comes with one-sided. Next we shall start with the two-sided persuasion. Now it is something little different, it is something which you can see when you go out in the market. Two-sided communication strategy is another type of, when it comes to direction of influence, where the communicator, the speaker, tries to take all the criticism that he or she has received, present it and then try to refute those opposing points and make sure the positive aspects is highlighted in front of the audience. Persuasive communication sometimes is based on purpose. Now there are two types, first central route persuasion and then peripheral route persuasion. Now both this type of persuasion are based on one model which is called the elaboration likelihood model. It is a model which was proposed by Petty and Cacioppo way back in 1986. Now these two models are very, very important, and it is something most of the marketing strategists and communicators will relate. Why? There are a lot of times, the first one I am talking, there are times you will get a very active audience, there are times people are very, very motivated. They will go through the profiles, they will check each and every project that they will be taking about. Let's give a very, very small example. Now, if somebody asks you to take a policy or health insurance policy, right? You as the taker, you will go through the points very clearly and make sure that whatever you're investing, it is reaping the benefits. So at that point of time, you as an audience will go through the policy rules and all the procedures and agreements that you are, because you are investing the money, right? That time the audience is very, very active, and it is correctly the central route persuasion, right? On the other hand, peripheral route persuasion, there are a lot of times when audience are not very motivated, and you use various other things like charismatic personality, you use different actors for brand endorsement so that your audience becomes active and look into your product. Something which is very, very relevant in today's time, a model which I thought will be perfectly matching with persuasive communication, and that is why I have included this model. Let's take a look at AIDA model. Now what is it? Awareness, interest, desire and action. I have given the source also from where this diagram has been taken. We'll start with this AIDA model now. It is a model or framework that can be applied or that is useful for marketing professionals also as well as advertisers also. It is a framework to persuade communication, of course, goes through 4 stages. What are the stages? Awareness, interest, desire and action. Now, it was a model which was way back, I am talking about 1951, American businessman St. Elmo Lewis proposed this particular model, and it really became very, very helpful. And today if you ask me, this is something very, very relevant in all the marketing field. So, when you propose your advertising copy, when you try to present to catch the attention of the audience, it's very, very important to understand what is going on in the consumer's or customer's mind. So, when all this process is happening, this AIDA model perfectly matches, right? You are seeing your product, you are gaining that interest, and finally you decide, when the trust is built, you decide that you will purchase your product. Now connected to AIDA model, I give you a very simple example, an example which you all will connect very well. Let me go through what Netflix has gone through. When Netflix came into India, Indian population was totally, they had lot of options to watch content. At that point of time was affordable. So what Netflix did, they started with the traditional form of advertising, big hoardings with all their programs. Slowly they started catching the attention of the young population of India. And with their series, web series, with their programs, Bollywood and Hollywood movies, they were trying to gain attention. They tried the first monthly trial which was free. So that was something accepted, because by then audience started showing interest towards all the Netflix program. And when they got used to it, they gained that confidence, they started endorsing, they started buying Netflix. And now Netflix has a lot of features which has attracted a lot of attention, right? If you see, when you finish a Netflix movie, you will be able to see personalized recommendations. Depending on what you have watched, they will tell you that these things also you can watch. There are a lot of features which are important. They go for 6-month trial basis, they can go for 1-year subscription basis. So this is how Netflix has established itself in India. So today's entire video was a summary of what persuasive communication is all about. Advertisers, communicators, even students should understand and learn how the strategies really work. For more such videos, please like, share and subscribe to M.O.P Classroom.